Hi, I'm Emma Jaszczak, a Jewish arts educator, and today I'm going to walk you through a basic how-to for tying your own Tzit Tzit, or Jewish ritual fringes. One of the beautiful things about Judaism is the rich symbolism that can be found in almost every prayer, ritual, and religious object. Tying your own Tzit Tzit, and even decorating or making your own Tallit, can be a very meaningful experience that can add a lot of richness to your use of these ritual objects. Let's start with some terminology. The shamash, which means attendant or caretaker in Hebrew, is used to wrap around all of the other strings. In any set of Tzit Tzit strings, you'll notice one string that's much longer than the others. This is your shamash. It's longer because this is the string we're going to use to wrap around the other strings. The other important term to know is techelet. Techelet is a bluish color that is mentioned 49 times in the Hebrew Bible, especially in discussing tzitzit. It's made from a special sea snail that has only recently been rediscovered, and therefore techelet and tzitzit is making a bit of a comeback. It's worth noting that tzitzit don't have to have techelet to be kosher, and if you're working on a budget, you may want to opt out of using techelet because the hand dyeing process can make it a bit pricey. Before tying tzitzit, it's important to set your intention for the mitzvah that you're about to engage in. The traditional phrase is L'shem mitzvat tzitzit, or in the name of the mitzvah of tzitzit. Start by threading one side of your strings through the hole in the corner of your tallit and lining up your strings so that one side of the shamash is even with the rest of the strings, and one side is hanging below. This long side is going to be our wrapping side. Double knot your strings with 4 strings on one side and 4 on the other, not hanging off from the bottom, but hanging off from the side. Don't worry if yours are hanging down. This won't affect whether or not your tzitzit are kosher. It's just a way to ensure that your tzitzit meet the minimum length. If you're buying strings that are marketed as tzitzit, this shouldn't be an issue. There is no single right way for tzitzit to be wrapped. In fact, depending on from whom or where in the world you're learning, there are several different cultural minhagim, or customs. For Askenazim, the wrapping numbers are 7, 8, 11, and 13, which equal 39, the numerical equivalent of Adonai Echad. For Sephardim, the numbers are 10, 5, 6, and 5 again, the numerical equivalent of Yud-He Vav-He. Yemenite or Rambam tying varies significantly from Askenazi or Sephardi. So if you're interested, we've included a link to a how-to video that we found really helpful below. Do your best to keep the 2 sets of strings even as you wrap your shamash and make your knots. Try to count your wraps as you go, so you can make sure you get the right amount of full wraps in each section. After each section of wrapping, make a double knot, making sure to keep your strings even as you tie. Then continue to wrap and tie until you've completed each section, finishing off your tzitzit with a final double knot. If your strings don't end up being even at the end, or your shamash is still pretty long, you can leave them the way they are, or either bite them or cut them using a non-metal cutting instrument. The reason we don't use metal is because, traditionally, metal was associated with instruments of war, so we avoid it in this particular mitzvah. There you have it! This was your basic how-to for tying Askenazi and Sephardi style tzitzit. If you have suggestions or tips, leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and for more Jewish DIYs and explainers, subscribe to the Bim Bam channel. Bye.